right, so I'm stoked. Today we have Kevin Salvano on the show. Kevin, I'm excited to have you on. We've tried to make you into a minor celebrity. I don't know how well it works, but
Yeah, that's funny.
you are an amateur. I don't know, how do you call it? What do you classify yourself as? Sub-elite runner?
Uh, yeah, I feel like any of the above. I'm sure there's more than one answer for that, but yeah,
I
honestly,
mean,
whatever you think is probably the right answer. I really don't know.
I think we're gonna call you an elite runner, elite
It's a big
marathoner.
compliment.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Who you ran the Olympic trials a couple weeks ago, and I guess we hadn't known about you before then, which I guess because it's not like I wouldn't say you're not a sponsored athlete, so you're kind of doing this on your own, working a job, running on the side, and you ran a crazy good time for the Olympic trials, like a 2:11 to get in. And when we were looking at the bios on the leading up to the trials, we were just clicking through them, reading everyone's bios, and I was like, Kevin Salvano, like reading through your bio, I was like, yeah, this is our dude, because everything,
That's
like
funny.
we loved all your answers, which, because a lot of people I feel like try to put inspiring quotes or things that are super meaningful, and you're like your post race beverage was a Bush Light, so right
It's
off the bat
true.
we were in. And we could talk about all that, but for those who don't listen to the podcast a ton, or maybe like missed an episode of how we were hyping you up, I just want to give a little bit of a backstory why you're here. But anyways, so welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
For sure. So, where are you out of? Are you in Chicago or
I'm in
my?
Chicago. Yep.
Okay, gotcha. And you are you from Chicago originally? You grew up there, or where are you from?
Yeah, so grew up in the suburbs, went to school in Notre Dame, so pretty close by, and then came back to the city right after I left Notre Dame. So yeah, it's been good here. I really like it.
Okay, cool. So, did you run for Notre Dame as well?
Yeah, I did. So finished my
Okay,
undergrad in 2020, had another year or so of eligibility, so just stayed for masters and was fortunate enough to run on the team for another year. So definitely had a good experience
nice.
there.
That's cool. So how'd you get into running? Is that something you've always done growing up, or give us a little
Yeah,
bit of
I'd
a
say pretty
backstory?
standard. I played the other sports growing up, and then I feel like got into it in middle school. My brother was a couple of years older than me, so he was running, and then you always want to beat the older brother, right? So, um, yeah, I was chasing him growing up, and then yeah, I ran a bit in middle school, got into it then, and then early high school, started taking it pretty seriously, and then yeah, stuck with it through college.
Nice. And what in college? What was your specialty?
Yeah, I feel like I was always better at the longer events. I ran a few good 10Ks. So, yeah, I ran cross. And then on the track, I feel like my best event was probably the 10K.
Okay, cool. So let me ask you. You said you were in competition with your brother. Has your brother run a marathon faster than 2:11?
No, not yet, but there's still time, I guess. You never know.
Yeah. And I mean, you made the jump to marathoning pretty soon after college. Although I have a question, because in your bio, you said, I think it was like one of the interesting things about you is that you quit running after college, and you're not, oh, sorry, hold on. My mic got messed up. You're not that far removed from college. So tell me
Yeah.
about how you quit and came back so quickly.
Yeah, I didn't really have any plans at all to run after college. For starters, I feel like it gave away like all my running shoes, that kind of thing. But yeah, so I left Notre Dame in 2021, and then it had been probably a year since I'd ran at all. So yeah, not that long, but I for sure took a year off, just like no plans to run at all.
Okay.
And then I got into lifting for a bit, but then probably like plateaued a bit in the gym, you know. So I was like, oh, maybe should try running. And then my brother was going to do a marathon, so I was like, oh, this will be a good time to reset from lifting, you know. Um, and then yeah, I just kind of surprised myself, and it just made sense to get back into it again. So yeah, it was really weird and sudden, honestly. Like I mentioned, I had no plans still, but then all of a sudden I was doing it again, and yeah, it was really surprising. But um, gonna keep doing it for now, I guess.
So, okay. So you quit, started weightlifting. It's
Yep.
funny because I read another bio of like someone. someone that ran the trials, and it's kind of the same idea. They were kind of started weightlifting, then during the pandemic because the gym shut down, kind of got more into running, and I think they ran like a 2:15 to qualify. But you ran. So was that your first marathon or?
No, so let's see, 2023, I think, so about a year ago, I did Houston, and that was just
Okay.
kind of like I didn't know what I was getting into. I remember being on the start line, being like, "Oh, why am I doing this?" But yeah, I ran Houston, and then I did Grandma's in Chicago. So I did a
Okay.
few last year. But yeah,
Okay.
before
So
Houston,
what?
like
Go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say before Houston, I just didn't have any plans, and honestly, like in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, like I'll do this marathon with my brother. It'll be cool. And then the plan was just to go back to the gym, because I feel like I just needed to reset.
Yeah.
But it went well, so it just made sense to keep doing it.
What was your time in Houston,
2:16.
dude? So that was your first marathon,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's insane. Were you surprised by that? Did your brother run with you the whole time, or was it kind of did you
No,
jump
we
out?
uh we didn't run together at all. Partially, I
Oh,
kind of snuck into the front. I remember they like put me
nice.
in like corral A or B, and I remember emailing them before. Um, and then yeah, I found out I was in that corral. I was like, like I kind of want to go for it. Why not? And then I just like kind of weaseled my way in and just made some friends with the workers there. But yeah, it was
Nice,
definitely a
classic
surprise.
Salvano. Nice.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise though. It's probably the most surprised I've ever been in a race out of whatever competing since I was 12, 13 years old. So
I mean, that's
yeah,
a shocking,
no, it was weird. I'll
like,
be honest. Yeah,
yeah, that's not normal for,
no, it
I
was
feel
kind
like,
of it was
most
kind of fun
people.
though. I remember being at mile 16 or 17 and just like being like, I shouldn't feel like this right now. Like this doesn't make any sense. But I was like, oh, just keep running, I guess. So
Did
it
you
was
did you
cool.
crash at all? Did you have any down moments in your first marathon?
No,
That's so
which
weird.
is
That's
like
so wild.
yeah. I remember I was just like a mile 25. I'm like, oh, I only got one more mile left, but then it makes like the rest of like the races coming up, they feel hard because like I'm never going to feel like I did on Houston, so like that's
Right.
done. But it was
Yeah.
still a pretty cool experience.
Man, and so what was your original goal for that? Just to
Yeah, I didn't have one.
run strong?
I had something in the back of my mind. Like I had done a few good long runs before, but obviously I had like the 2:18 trials time in the back of my mind. But I remember waking up, it was a little warm that day, and I just kind of pushed time out the window, and I just went out there, didn't have a watch, didn't look at any timers, and I just
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah. So I think that might have helped, honestly, because I wasn't really thinking about time at all. I just ran and based off feel.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I feel like you hear that a lot. Not maybe not a lot, but sometimes just dropping that expectation or always looking at your watch trying to figure out if you're running
Hmm.
that the right pace at the right time.
Yeah, I think people
Um
forget it's a race at the end of the day. Like time does matter, but you should be trying to beat people. So
yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good point. So you did Houston, then Grand Wall. So was your 211 at Chicago then?
I ran 2:11 at Grandma's and Chicago.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Hmm.
And so was I mean, obviously you said the goal was to qualify for the Olympic trials. So you did that.
Hmm.
Tell us about your training leading up to the trials because
Hmm.
uh I mean, or maybe even your training in general, because obviously it's pretty surreal to be running a 2:16 first marathon, then drop it to a 2:11 pretty soon after. So, what do you have a coach, or how's that work?
No, I'm self-coached.
Okay,
Training wise, I feel like I've kept it the same since Houston. Honestly, like I mean, I do run more miles. Like I only run hard once a week, which I think is just good for just consistency and enjoying what I do.
mm,
So yeah, before Houston, before the other races, just high mileage, and then one hard effort, usually on Fridays, and just taper for the race. And honestly, like that's it.
okay.
Um,
And so, by high
yeah.
mileage, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So I feel like last year I don't record it or anything like that, but if I had to guess, I probably averaged over 100 for the entire calendar year. So um,
Okay,
a standard block would yeah, for sure. Like 3 weeks up over 100, and then I do like to take down weeks. So I'll go 3 up, 1 down under 100, and then still just a hard
Okay.
effort on Thursday or Friday. So that's what it looks
It, when
like.
you're when you're training, I mean, I know sorry, this mic has been weird. Um, when you're training, do you use a watch then, or do you just go by time, or how's that work?
Yeah, I wear a watch, but I really don't look at it at all.
Okay.
Just because I feel like the workouts are always pretty similar, and I kind of just run the same routes, and
Hmm.
I really feel like I've gained an even better understanding of how I feel. So if I do like a hard tempo or something, I just don't look at my watch at all until the end, and it's kind of
Wow.
nice. And yeah, usually I know how fast I'm running all, so you can just kind of tell. So I don't
Yeah.
really need to look at it, but I look at it after I'm done, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you. So do you mainly run the kind of like the same routes, and then just kind of how by your time, like if you're progressing?
Yeah, so I don't know if you've run the Lakeshore Path in Chicago.
Hmm.
I pretty much do that almost every day, and not tired of it
Okay.
yet somehow. But it's a really nice trail, so I kind of know all the spots and like how I'm feeling at those spots, how far I've left. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I feel like I don't really need to look at it unless it's like really windy or snowy or whatever.
Right. Man, so okay, so you run. I mean, it's interesting because we were on the Citius Mag prediction show the night before the race, and they're saying how they're big fans of the high mileage, more mileage runners who kind of just go after it that way. Because I feel like Dakota Lindworm's in that camp, and obviously she had a pretty good day. Um, and it's kind of like an old school mentality anyway, in a way, especially the way you're doing it. I feel like it's very old school.
Yeah, I think everybody runs mileage, honestly. I
Right.
mean, you look at the top guys, and especially in the 70s and 80s, I feel like people forget about like a Frank Shorter, Bill Rogers, but those guys were running
For
high
sure.
mileage also. When I hear about people doing shorter, faster stuff, it honestly gets me a little excited because I just know like that's kind of not what running a good marathon takes. And I don't even
Uh-huh.
run that many fast, but I just run a lot of garbage miles, honestly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like some of the best guys just run like 7 minute pace and they don't have to be fast miles, but you do have to get them in.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, even I feel like Kipchoge, you always hear how he runs 80% of his runs at like an 8 minute pace or something crazy, like, or
Yeah. And
7:30.
yeah, I've always said
Obviously,
if you're running at 7:15 pace versus I don't know 6:50, it's like yeah, like you're running faster at 6:50, but you're really not getting that much of a fitness benefit from it. But
right,
if
right,
you're running 7:10s, you're actually absorbing what you're doing more. But everybody's
yeah,
different, I guess.
yeah, yeah. So tell me about the trials leading up to it. What was your mindset and kind of, I don't know, or even your goals or whatever? Yeah, for the race.
Yeah, training went well. I had an Achilles thing come up, but nothing crazy, and a calf, but that went away fine. And then yeah, workouts were good. And then before the race, in terms of goals, I didn't really have one. I wasn't set on like making the team. Obviously, I didn't view myself as that guy, unlike I guess you guys did, which is why it was so funny. Yeah, no
I
time
mean,
goal,
I was,
obviously.
dude, for real. Hold on. Sorry. When
No,
you were like in the first 5 miles, it was like showing you in the top
you guys are.
five for because you were in the front pack, and I
Yeah,
was like losing my mind. No joke.
yeah, that's
um,
hilarious.
but anyways, continue.
Yeah, I didn't have a fixed goal or anything, but I did want to go out with the leaders and just try to hang on.
Mhm.
So that was it. And then I got dropped once, got dropped twice, and then yeah, I just ended up jogging it in. So yeah, obviously not a great day, but it is what it is. I didn't have a chance. I didn't see myself as one of the guys that was going to make the team anyway, obviously. So just wanted to go off the leaders and hang on, but obviously didn't even hang on for that long. So it's all good.
Did you have a goal? Say, you're saying you probably didn't have a chance, but did you have a goal in general for the race?
Yeah, well, it's kind of intangible, I guess, but the goal is to, I guess, level up. I feel like running 211 twice last year, like I reached a certain level through that, but I mean, at the end of the day, like I just still want to get better. And that
Hmm.
didn't mean getting top three. It meant getting to the next level. I wasn't going to put
Hmm.
like a certain time is a good day or a bad day. But yeah, getting to the next level, whatever that meant, just the guys around me, how good they are. Um, but I feel like after 211 twice, I saw myself as like a third tier, maybe US marathoner. So getting to that next second tier, whoever you consider that, was probably the goal, to be honest with you.
Okay. Yeah, and it seemed like it was a little bit of a rough day. It was pretty warm out that day. It got warm, and
Yeah,
the Florida sun hits different, dude. Like,
yeah, it does. I mean, it was warm for everybody. Honestly, I didn't feel that warm at the end, but that's probably because I was running like 6:30 pace. But yeah, I mean, I just got out of breath pretty early, and obviously wasn't good enough. Is what happened, but it's all good.
yeah. So for someone who, you're unsponsored, you're going there on your own. What does it look like from that perspective? Like, walk us through race weekend, kind of how that works. Cause I feel like it's interesting coming from someone who, is just like us, except 100 times faster. But just kind of wondering like what it looks like when you don't have all that support.
Yeah, honestly, it's not that bad. I mean, I'm used to it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about just getting to the start line and trying to race people. So yeah, I feel like I just do the same things as anybody else does with the sponsorship. I just don't have a sponsorship. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's nice not having to like do all like the rah rah stuff, like going to all these events before the race. Like I just get to do my own thing. Don't have to like make small talk in the hotel. But
Right.
yeah, like, I mean, it's nothing crazy. Like it's just like going to any other race. So
Yeah.
yeah, didn't think
Would
much of it.
you would you ever do a sponsorship, or do you have a goal in that sense, or are you content kind of doing your own thing?
I mean, yeah, obviously, I feel like everybody wants one, right? Everybody wants to be good. Everybody wants to get a shoe deal. But I mean, like, I kind of know my place also.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, to get noticed, you have to run really fast nowadays. And like, obviously, I know that like I haven't done that yet. So, of course, I'd like to, but I also like know my place too. So, right now, I know
Yeah.
that's not really on the table.
Is that like something? So, is it something you would pursue full time if given the opportunity, or is it
Yeah,
like,
I
how
mean,
do you
I
feel
feel
about
like
that?
right now I really like my job, and I feel like I've got a good
Mm.
balance of that, like living in Chicago. All my friends and family are here. Um,
Yeah.
and the other thing is too is that like I was able to run a couple good marathons last year while doing both, and um, I feel like having that structure might actually be good for me. Having
Mm.
distractions is nice. Not that I'm calling like my job or friends as distractions, it's just more
Right.
so like it might just be like good for me. But
Kind of
yeah, I
like
haven't
a
really
balance
given,
of things.
yeah, exactly. I haven't really
Yeah.
given that much thought, to be honest with you. But I feel like right now I've got a decent thing going, and hopefully I can get better. And that part of it's running and work and balancing that with like a social life. So it's all good right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting because, I feel like obviously the dream for a lot of people is to work with a training group or running group or have a coach system, move to Flagstaff, move to Boulder, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
But
think that
yeah,
would be cool. Just like I also, like I mentioned, like I never um, was even close to being like an NCAA champion out of college, right? And I feel like to actually, like, I straight up don't think I'd be able to afford doing that because, like, to actually like
mm.
make a living off running, you have to be one of the top guys,
Oh yeah, for
or
sure.
have like 30 or 40K on Instagram, right? Like, let's be honest. So,
Dude,
um,
it is true. It's
yeah,
crazy.
like like, and it makes sense too. So yeah, it's just I feel like that's just not me, but I mean, I still want to compete with the people that do have those, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
So where do you work in Chicago then?
I work in the Loop, so as I guess the what's called the business district. So it's right by the
Okay.
Lakeshore Path. I've got a short commute to work. They've got breakfast here, which honestly is nice right after a run.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah, it's a good setup, and I got pretty lucky.
And do you work in finance? Is that correct? Or
Yeah,
did I hear?
so
Okay.
I work for an investment manager for let's see, I've been here for about a year and a half now, and yeah, it's been good. So and
Nice.
they were pretty flexible with like I'd never really have to take that much time off work for running, but I mean they're pretty supportive, honestly. So it's really nice.
Yeah. Is it weird to like do people that you work with know the significance of kind of running in the Olympic trials, or is it something where kind of when you tell your I don't know, like when people have no idea what a 2:11 marathon means, like some people think, oh, that's great. That's or you could tell them 3:30 and they would not know the difference.
I feel like they actually do get it. Some people that I
Nice.
work with actually run too.
Oh,
But
cool.
also it's kind of funny compared to like college. Like nobody like the marathon actually I feel like is a little more understood compared to in college. Everybody's running what 3K, 5K, 10K.
Hmm.
Like they get the mile right, but the marathon actually people do that, you know. So
Right.
um, compared to college, like it's kind of funny because my friends kind of understand that more than when I was
Yeah.
doing it in college. So yeah, people at
Yeah. I
work
mean, I
definitely
feel
get
like
it.
in yeah, I feel like in college or in track and field, there's so many distances, and obviously
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of metric stuff going on. So for
Mm-hmm.
Americans that aren't super into running, it's hard to even know, like, compute exactly what that is. I mean, 5K people know because they run a
Mm-hmm.
5K for fun or whatever,
Yep.
but I'd say 5K and a marathon are like the two things that people are somewhat familiar with. But anything else, it's you might as well be speaking another language.
Yeah, exactly. And then like having the Chicago Marathon here, you know, like people get that. And then obviously like a Boston is pretty popular too. So and then you don't really have that comparison, I feel like for like 5K or 10K, you know, like I just feel
Yeah,
like marathoning is like a lot bigger than it is for um I guess like track races in the US at least.
yeah, definitely. What when you ran Chicago, what place did you finish in?
16th.
Okay, overall.
Mhm.
And so what American? What was it?
There were a lot of good Americans and then so I think I was like seventh or eighth, maybe, which
Okay,
was, I mean, I was the 16th was kind of cool, but yeah, like having, I mean, they were all good Americans, right? But having all those Americans like in front of me just kind of was tough.
yeah,
Wasn't a bad day or anything, but yeah, I was hoping to place a little higher in terms of Americans, but I mean, a lot of Americans ran fast that day, you know,
I mean
so
that's still amazing to run your hometown marathon and finish top 10 American. That's got to feel pretty awesome.
yeah, it was cool. You always want to do better though, right?
Yeah, I feel you. What shoe did you run in for the trials, or what's your shoe of
I ran
choice?
the A6 Metaspeed at the trials.
Okay, the Edge or the
I
Sky?
think it's the Edge Plus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
That's like I that's actually one of my favorite race day shoes just because it's feels really snappy and the turnover is really quick.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think I that's what I love about that shoe. Um, have you tried any others as well?
Yeah. I wore the Saucony Endorphin Elite twice last year, and I liked that for
Mhm.
sure.
Okay.
And then in Houston, I think I wore the Vaporflies, which felt good also.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel like carbon fiber is carbon fiber, right? Um,
I mean, I feel like at this point
it just
it's
works what works best for you. You know, everybody's got a
yeah,
preference.
right.
I feel like everybody was wearing or at least the non-sponsored people. So most people were wearing the Alpha Fly at the trials.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's probably the most popular one, I guess.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's funny because one of my friends he's running Tokyo and he keeps
Hmm.
flip flopping between like three different shoes, carbon plated shoes, and I'm like, dude, like that's not gonna be what makes or breaks it.
Yeah,
Like
if you're in good
you're
shape,
either
you're in good shape. Like,
yeah. Like
yeah,
just pick one, dude. Like stop stressing over it. Like you're gonna either have a great day or you're gonna be jet lagged and feel terrible and it's gonna be awful.
1000%. Yeah.
Um, I mean, so would you consider the trials you finished in? Did you finish in like 219?
No,
Like or
higher 223.
okay, sorry, my bad.
No, you're good.
um, would you consider that like a bad? Do you feel like it was a bad race for you, or were you just like it didn't work out the way you wanted to, and then you kind of just like coasted it in?
I'd say the latter. I got to mile 15 or 16, and I mean, this is going to sound bad, but I probably was going to drop, to be honest, just in case I wanted to hop in a spring race, which I still might. And then I had some friends surprise me during the race. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to, like, these guys surprised me from across the country. Like, I'm not going to drop out.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty crazy. Like, I saw a lot of pros just, like, step off. Like, I literally saw it, like, right in front of me. They would just randomly step off, stop their watch, step off, and weren't even gassed at all. But yeah, obviously not a great day, but I mean, I'm in fine spirits. My body recovered fine just because I wasn't really strained the last 10 miles. Not that I'm proud of that at all, but it is nice not feeling like crap for 2 weeks after the race.
I mean, I think it's cool that you finished, even though, you know, I mean, I like that you went for it because why not? You know, it's the trials. Just see what you can do, push yourself. And then I think it's still good to, I know it's like you want to run a spring marathon, but to finish the trials, just knowing that you did that, I mean, it's got to still be pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And I feel like I said earlier, like if you don't finish within the top, whatever, like at that point, it's like you shouldn't really care that much and nobody else really cares. So yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal at all. And it was a cool race to be in for sure.
Yeah. So when you're in your marathon so far, what's your fueling strategy?
Yeah, I don't really have one, to be honest. I don't practice with anything. I probably should. Yeah, I'm trying to maybe think of something different to do. I don't think, like, I haven't had any fueling issues at all. Maybe at Chicago a little bit at the end because it kind of blew up. But yeah, I feel like as long as I get like sugar and salt in me, I'm fine. So maybe I'll.
So what is it then? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say is I just get like some sort of sugar and salt, but I couldn't even. What did I do for the trials? I think I did body armor for the trials. I don't know why, but I was just like, I remember I went to Walmart like 2 days before.
Like the drink, just body armor.
Yeah, I saw.
Okay.
Because the trials was giving us like 12 or 16 ounce bottles, and I was like, okay, what should I put in these? Yeah, so I think it was the Thursday or Friday I was at Walmart, and I was like, oh, body armor is on sale. I'll go get body armor, and it just like filled up perfectly in the bottles. So
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I don't think I'm gonna do body armor again, just to maybe change something up for the next race. But yeah, I don't have.
This is my favorite
strategy.
This is my favorite fueling strategy. Go to Walmart 2 days before, and whatever body armor is on sale, put it in the bottle.
Save money, race better, right?
Yeah, I like that. You should put that on a Salvano shirt. Wait, what flavor of body armor did you get?
It was either blackout berry or fruit punch. I forget.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the coconut.
Coconut's good. I guess it's technically coconut water, right? Body armor is.
I think so. Or at least there's a part. There's like, is it like a coconut peach or mango? I forget. But they have some good stuff. So I get it.
Yeah.
Now, what about as far as gels? Did you take gels during the race as well?
Yeah, they had a bunch of the more than 100 caffeine. So I took a couple caffeines, and that was just based off feel. I remember around like mile 5 when I was starting to get dropped by the front group. I think they were going like 450s or a little under at that point when Zach, I think, went to the lead. I remember thinking, okay, I need some sort of boost. So I just like took like 1 or 2 of the caffeine gels and then just ripped it. I was like, oh, why not? So yeah, it was just all based off feel, but I feel like I should probably change that going forward. That just didn't make sense.
I mean, I feel like you're talking about leveling up. I feel like I spot some
it's
areas
not just gonna
where
happen.
you might be where you might be able to hone in on.
You're definitely correct, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of promising though, to know that you could wing it on feel and run those times, but there's definitely some opportunity, maybe from the fueling side. And yeah. That's crazy, dude. So post race, what did you celebrate with?
So during the race, I saw my friends had visited. They had Bush during the race, and they were like waving it around. So then I see them after the race, and they gave me one, which was very kind of them. It was a little warm. I was gonna
ask if you had one. When you said you coasted in the last 10 miles and you saw your friends, I was like, tell me you shotgunned a beer.
I mean, I probably could have. It would have made much of a difference. But yeah, it was nice of them to do that. So definitely had it. had those.
I will say there was one time I drank a mimosa during a half marathon that I was planning on just running for fun. And then right after I'd had it, I felt fantastic and ran at that time a PR. So maybe there was something to it. I mean,
Yeah.
orange juice and champagne, I think that kind of works.
Get some carbs in there.
Exactly.
Maybe I'll try that instead of the Body Armor. We'll see if Walmart has some champagne and Great Value brand orange juice.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like that idea. All right. So next marathon. I mean, you got time before the next trials to test things out, so it might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, we'll see.
Have you done a beer mile before?
Yeah. Never broke 10 though. I think I ran 10 flat.
Oh really?
So yeah, I feel like that's probably outside what most people do, but yeah. They were fun though.
You could definitely improve on that time for sure.
Yeah, maybe I'll focus on that instead of fueling, but I gotta get my priorities straight, I guess.
Right. Why try to PR in the marathon when you can?
Yeah, it's just strengthening your stomach, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean that's part of the plan.
Yeah.
That's cool. So let's see. What are your plans going forward then? Because
I'm.
I mean, you have to have something, I would guess.
Yep. So I don't know if they're going to get pissed off for saying anything, but I probably won't. I haven't signed anything yet, but I'm probably going to do a race late spring. And then I just want to make sure. I feel like for the last 2 marathons I did, Chicago and the trials, I felt a little cramped, honestly. I felt good in terms of like my legs before the race, but before Chicago, I had like 3.5 months after grandma's. Chicago, the trials, about the same. So priority one's just going to make sure I'm ready to go. But yeah, I'm probably going to end up doing this race late spring and then hopefully reset for the fall because I feel like really toning in on a good fall marathon while I still can would be cool. But yeah, I just got to make sure my body's right first. I feel fine right now. So if all goes well, I'll probably do a spring marathon and then get a good reset in for the fall.
Okay, cool. And is that something like an invite for the spring marathon?
I feel like the running world's pretty small, and I just have a friend of a friend that knows them, like the elite coordinator. Yeah, so
okay, cool.
Yep.
I mean, it's got to be pretty wild to like. I mean, I don't know. You tell me. Do you feel like it's wild that you're lining up with you're there with the elites? I mean, the people that you had faster times than sponsored athletes. Like I think your time was faster than Frank Lara's marathon time for the trials. And I mean, he's sponsored by Ultra, runs with Roots. Like you're there. So is that kind of surreal to you, or do you feel like that's you always expected that?
After grandmas, maybe not really. Even though it's not like there are a ton of sponsored people if I need grandmas. But I remember before Chicago, like seeing like Galen Rupp. Like, I mean, I grown up my whole life watching Galen run, so like that was cool. I'll be honest. But yeah, in terms of the Americans, it's like I want to beat these guys, So yeah, obviously like Frank's a really good runner, But you do have your outliers like Galen. Like, yeah, I'm a little starstruck when I saw him. I'm just being honest.
Right.
But not to take anything away from those guys, but I mean, going into like Chicago in the trials, like I had their names written down, So not really, to answer your question.
Yeah, I love that. Dude, that's cool. So you had a Billy Madison list of names there to take down or whatever.
That's correct.
That might be, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Is that something that you kind of had like on your mirror, or was it just something that you kind of focused on as a mantra almost?
No, it's just, I feel like when I'm running before work or whatever, it's kind of like a nice time for me to like reset and like, I don't run with AirPods or anything like that. So I feel like I actually just get to like think about what I care about, where my priorities are. So yeah, it's more so that was just like a good time to actually like think about what I want to do with this running.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, I feel like, and I don't mean to take it lightly, just being like, act like, I mean, we hadn't known that much of you, more people that are, I would say people more invested in like the Citius Mag side of things probably had a much better grasp. But like, so I don't want you to think that, you know, like we think any less of you in that way, but it's just cool to see somebody who, you know, isn't sponsored, who has a job, who kind of, it's just inspiring to see someone like you who, you know, does it outside of their work time, operating at like running at that level. And I think that's mainly why we were like rooting for you hard. It was just that there's somebody out there who's a normal dude grinding away and has elevated himself to this point where, like you said, like you belong there, like you definitely do. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I feel like there are a lot of good guys that aren't sponsored also. So it's like, I feel like I'm not the only one out there, you know, but
For sure.
yeah, it is like, I mean, of course you do think about it. It's like, oh, they've got a shoe contract. I don't, I want to beat them. Like it does honestly, it might even help if anything, because you got more of a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an underdog mentality. It has to be if you're that guy who, like you said, who doesn't have a sponsorship, who's kind of, you know, coming out and just trying to, you know, doing the work day in and day out. You don't get to take naps in the middle of the day. You know, between workouts, you're actually like having to, you know, work another job. I mean, not to say that a lot of professional runners still work other jobs, but
Sure.
some of them are fully sponsored. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool to see that for sure. All right. So do you have a favorite running memory yet? Because in your bio, you said you didn't have one. So is it still the same?
So when I was filling that out, just for the record, so it was another email from USATF. I was like, oh, another USATF email. And then I was like, okay, nobody's probably going to look at this anyway. So I'm just going to, you know, I just fill it out really quick. But my favorite running memory, one of them's probably from college. We won ACC Cross my junior year, 2018. We beat a really good Syracuse team that year that had been winning at least while I was there before for many years. And then I guess after that was probably running 2:11 at Grandma's Marathon, because I feel like that kind of made me realize I should keep doing this. And I put myself in the hurt locker that day and managed to hang on. So I'd say those two are my favorite running memories.
All right. So Grandma's Marathon. So you ran Grandma's Marathon. What was your finishing time there?
It's 2:11 high, so
And
probably
then
like 10 or 15
what
seconds.
was okay? And what I meant to ask was, what place did you finish in at
I
Grandma's?
think I was seventh. I
Okay.
think second
Such
American. I think Nathan Martin was ahead of me.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's such a competitive race. It's crazy how, like a 2:11 seventh place, pretty wild.
yeah. It was point to
Oh, go ahead.
point, so it might be a little inflated, honestly. And it was really good weather, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
still like nice to have, like, there were a lot of good runners in that field, which is cool.
Yeah. Nice. All right. So outside of running, what else do you have? Other interests that you like to get into, or is it like running and then just whatever?
No, I feel like now that I'm out of college, like my weekends are finally weekends, so I have a lot more free time on weekends. So I've got a lot of my friends from high school and college in the
Nice.
city, so just hang out with them. I follow up golf pretty closely, basketball, football. So yeah, definitely a sports fan. And then yeah, hang out with my friends on weekends. So I'd say those are the
What
two
are your
biggest.
What are your thoughts on the new Tiger Woods Sunday Red?
So I'm a big Tiger fan, actually.
I mean, I get it. Yeah,
Yeah,
same.
I mean, I feel like he definitely needs a new identity. No more Nike, right? So
Yeah.
um, I trust Tiger will do the right thing, you know. So yeah, I feel like Tiger knows best.
All right. It is pretty crazy. Just like I know he's had some okay finishes in the last couple years, like here and there, but just
His
how
body is so beat. Like,
that's what I was gonna say. How
yeah,
wrecked his body is.
yeah, he
Um,
was like, his swing is just, I feel like, not sustainable, right? And as a whatever
right.
20, 25, 30 year old, like, he was just on another level compared to everybody else. Like, it was pretty crazy how big his peak was.
It's oh yeah. I mean, I remember because I'm obviously a lot older than you. So when I was in high school, he was I mean, we're fairly close in age, I guess. He's a little bit older, but when I was in high school, he was like that's when he was dominating, and
Yeah.
I mean, it was so exciting at the time for high schoolers to watch golf. Is crazy. Like,
Oh, he changed the sport. Nobody else has come close.
I mean, I grew up in freaking redneck Pennsylvania, and all my friends were like into golf. Like, we just played golf all the time, and I'd say that's a huge part of it. I mean, I had a book. Like, the whole reason I learned to play golf was just a Tiger Woods golfing book that I bought at the store, and just literally read the books. This is before YouTube and everything. This, and just that's how I learned to golf, was just reading his book and practicing the swings.
Yeah, I like Tiger too, not just because of the golf part, but he's just a competitor, and like in a sport like golf, you don't really think about that. He has the fire in him. And he's always had the fire. And I think that's the coolest part that people forget about Tiger is like, he's a killer. Like, he really is.
Oh yeah. I mean, Sunday red, like that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
If he's wearing that on Sundays, you're done. Like, and he's in the lead.
It's over.
It is. I remember reading, and I don't know if this is true, because this could be one of those things that you read back before the internet was like, whether you just knew it was true or not. And it was saying that when he was at Stanford, he was like pound for pound one of the strongest athletes at school, which is not surprising, and that's part of the reason why he's so wrecked, is because his torque when he swings the club is insane.
Yeah, I mean, he was generating so much power, and especially when he was at Stanford, like, he was pretty lean back then too. Like, now he's kind of like bigger jacked, right? But yeah, I mean, he was definitely generating a lot of power for how big he was.
And I mean, they changed they literally changed Augusta because of him.
Yeah,
I mean, because he was smashing the ball, like annihilated that course. Like, what do you get, 20 under? Like, ridiculous.
Yeah. He could just hit shots that nobody else could even think about hitting. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, 20 under for the tournament, not for the for one round. But but he was just like, reaching the green in 2 on par 5s and just destroying it. Yeah. No, I'm a huge Tiger fan as well, but it is. I mean, we'll see. I'm sure his new venture will be fine.
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool, man. Yeah. Well, all right. I'm glad we got in some golf talk. So this is a running podcast after all. So, I mean, there's like speed golf, right? That's running and golf.
Yeah, I think. I feel like Bernard got into that like 10 or 15 years ago, maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Honestly, it sounds terrible to me. To me, I'm like, if I'm golfing,
I'm hanging out, having fun,
Yeah. I'm not trying to run hole to hole while playing golf.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. Are you a disc? Let me ask. Are you a disc golf guy too?
Not at all. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you?
I mean, I feel like in college, I don't know. So it's a similar vibe. It's just like you kind of just drink and play disc golf. Like, that's the purpose of it.
Exactly. I feel like you can't do that without that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's the whole point of any kind of golf in general. Miniature golf, same thing. Just push the kids out of the way. Yeah. But cool, man. All right. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast. It was good to hear kind of your story behind the trials. And honestly, it's a little annoying, if I have to be real, because I'm like, you're just like, yeah, I just decided to run the marathon, and then I ran a 2:16 and a 2:11, and then I ran the trials.
No, I definitely care about it and definitely put an effort, but yeah, I appreciate that.
I mean, it is cool. No, I know you put in the huge mileage, the huge weeks, and a lot of time and effort into it, but on a surface level, it seems like, you just are like, I came out.
Don't judge a book by its cover, right?
Exactly. But yeah, thanks for coming on the podcast. Interested to know if you still go with body armor for your next fueling strategy.
I hope not. Jeez.
But I mean, I don't know. You could secure a sponsorship. I haven't heard of any runners sponsored by Body Armor yet, so it might be something to look
wouldn't
into.
that be something?
Yeah, cool, man. All right, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Have a good one.